So let's talk about the elephant in the room, guys. How we all feeling about Harsetti? You guys tired of seeing this animation yet, or is it still doing it for you? Okay, so a lot of people are saying, hey, Harsetti is going away like in about 36 hours. So she'll be gone at 11 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and will be replaced with the new Mystic Summon. You can see that if you click this arrow up here in the corner. We got Urban Shadow Shu, Eternal Wanderer Ludwig, Sage, Ball and Cezanne, Top Model Lulika, and Bloodblade Karen, who's kind of an okay unit. I mean, she's decent, right? Not, you know, she's okay. And of all people, Abigail, who is insane for new players. One of the best units for new players. One of the strongest DPSs, if not the strongest DPSs in the game. One of the better support slow turn 2 units in the game. And when you pull the trigger, you can scream giant rat gun. At least that's what we do here. Eternal Wanderer Ludwig, who is great for cleave. Sage Ball and Cezanne, who's okay for anti-cleave, though his uses are starting to fall away. And Top Model Lulika. I mean, she's pretty. Not to mention Uberous Tooth, which is a limited artifact. So if you're looking for ways to... I digress. Uberous Tooth is not limited. It can just randomly appear on pulls. It does show up in the powder shop, but it's quasi-limited because it's not tied to anybody's banner. So you're only going to get this through random drops or appearing in the powder shop. You're not going to be able to just pull a banner and have Uberous with it. And this is really, really good on Specially Changed Miki. It's probably her best in slot. So there's a lot on this banner for new players, up to and including Daydream Jokers. So this is actually a pretty solid Mystic for newer players to pull on. I think to the point where it might be baiting them. Holy crap, here's a Miki. A Miki with Uberous, BBK with her best new player friend, Abigail. All of this combined along with 3 really strong ML units and one kind of okay one and one who's just not good at all. I mean, people will say she's good in cleave, but she's not. Unless you have end game gear, then you can do some stuff with Top Model Lulika. But for your average player, she's not going to bring that much to your team. So this is a really, really, really good lineup, especially for newer players. It's almost like they're maybe trying to bait you for something, because remember that 3 weeks from now, a new ML5 will come out. Maybe it's Death Metal Tamarin. Maybe it's Queen Diane. Maybe it is, Fists of Fury Hua Young. So be aware that this game is all about FOMO, because that's what gets you to buy packs. But that's not the question we have. The question we have is it worth getting Harsetti? Is it worth spending your pity on Harsetti? Well, this stuff is really good. And if you're a relatively new player, there's a lot of things here for you. But what does Harsetti do at different levels of play? Well, right now, Harsetti's biggest niche is by far and away arena defense. You can't look at an arena defense team and not see Harsetti on all of them. Right? Refresh here, look at this. Harsetti. She is on every defense in arena. So if you want to have any kind of successful defense in arena, you probably want to have Harsetti. Now, there are going to be a handful of people that don't have Harsetti on their defense. They're food for the cleavers who are desperately looking for ways to still be relevant in arena. But you can run defenses that don't involve Harsetti. It's not like she's required to play the game. You don't actually even have to have a defense to succeed in arena, because most people are doing arena just to get the battle pass done. And the battle pass is really good and worth doing, but you can always just do NPC fights, get your battle pass done, and not even care about defense teams. So she's not required. But if you want to have a decent defend rate, if you want to have 20 and 30 or higher defense rates, Harsetti is going to be really, really good. This is my first week with Harsetti on defense. I had her on defense, but she was only on defense the last 2 days, and just being on there for 2 days brought me up 6%. The other place Harsetti is really, really good is on your Guild War defense teams. And if you want to do really, really well in Guild Wars and have good Guild War defenses, Harsetti is very important for that. She is probably one of the most popular, strong defenses in Guild Wars. Offensively, however, you don't use her that much. Now, there are some really nice Harsetti offenses in Arena. There are 1 or 2 decent Arena offenses with Harsetti, but that's about it. You reach for her for offense way less than you reach for her for defense. And the only other place that she is used at all is in RTA. Now in RTA, she counters cleave, she counters aggro, she counters most standard. If you've got the right units, you stack it with it, she's very, very hard to beat. And because of that, I think the further you push into RTA, the more you're going to find she's pre-banned. I think you're going to have a hard time drafting her. Now, right now, people are still letting her through, people are still experimenting with her. I would say 75% plus of fights, opponent has banned Harsetti. Now, early on, not so much. Early on, people tend to be banning Luna more often, but once you get to the point where there's 2 pre-bans, Harsetti seems to almost always be one of those 2 pre-bans. So, you're pulling for a unit that you're not going to be able to use actively very much, right? You're only going to use her once in a while in Guild Wars, once in a long while in Arena, and less and less and less in RTA as people start pre-banning her until solutions come out. But when you get her through, she makes doing RTA a lot easier if you're the one that has planned around having Harsetti on the team. So she is a potential asset here. The Bellion syndrome, right? She is just like Bellion, where she is one of the most meta-broken units in the game for RTA if your opponent lets you have her. And that will be very unlikely. And I think as we push deeper into the season, it's going to get less and less and less likely. Let's take a look at match history. Prepare to be flashbanged. Down here, hero search. Harsetti. There she is. 55% win rate. She's the 28th most picked unit. And that's in Masters. Challenger, 54% win rate. Champs, 53% win rate. That's crazy. Crazy numbers. 54% win rate. Anything over 50% is broken. Anything over 52% is unbalancing for the game. Unbalancing. She's 2% above that threshold. No wonder why everybody is complaining about this unit, right? But let's scroll down a little bit. Wow, people are actually managing to get her through in the 3rd pick ban protected spot. That's crazy. But when she's first picked, she's banned half of the time. She's banned half of the time you draft this unit, your opponent's going to ban her. You know how crazy it is that people are actually banning 1st pick instead of 4th pick? So yeah, there's a lot of data on this GG site. And all this data points towards her being an incredibly powerful 5-star unit for RTA. Whew, sorry for the flashbang. So that's the big question, right? How into RTA are you? Do you engage with this game mode at all? If you plan to get into RTA, if you plan to do RTA more than just pushing Masters for your skin once a season, you plan to play RTA because you want to get to Challenger, you want to get to Champs, you enjoy the mechanics, you enjoy the game mode, you want to make your climb easier, then yes, you pick up Harsetti. She's a very, very, very strong... I can't say she's an unbalancingly strong meta unit. I've never seen so many people ask for a nerf since Hua Young. It's crazy. So you get one of two things. you get the most powerful, unbalanced, broken RTA unit in the game, or you get a unit who's eventually going to get nerfed and then you get a selector out of it. I don't think that's going to happen, but there are some people who are actually weighing that in their decision. But what if you don't engage with World Arena at all? Well, now you come down to regular Arena and Guild Wars, where 90% of her usage is on defense. And does having a really good defense matter enough to you for Guild Wars and Arena that you're willing to skip out on what's coming next? To me, I would say no. If you engage with RTA 0, I would skip Harsetti. It's going to suck that you aren't going to have the meta Arena defense, that you aren't going to have the meta Guild War defense, but you can still build defenses, and it really doesn't impact your world, right? Unless you are one of these guys who wants to sit in Emperor, sit in Legend, you want to push for your Arena frame, unless maybe you're in the main fortress in your guild and you want to put your best defense forward. If you're just in a tower and you only passively do Arena for the weekly Skystones, then you don't need Harsetti. She's out there and she's broken and she's definitely useful, but is it really worth your pity compared to what may come next? Because outside of Arena, outside of Guild Wars, outside of RTA, she has zero use. And I know we've all seen the videos where Harsetti's out there killing all of the hunts or doing something impressive, but that's through overgearing, and even then it's still not as efficient as what can be done with regular units on Goblin tier gear. So it's not like she is good at PvE. She can be forced into that application because through gear almost anything is possible. So that's my advice when it comes to do you pick up Harsetti is, what is your focus in this game? What are you trying to achieve in this game? Are you wanting to eventually become, even if you just started, you have designs to get into RTA, that's a world you want to dive into, you want to be part of the competitive side, then yes, 100% you get her. Are you just a PvE Andy and you're enjoying the story and you really could give a rat's ass about RTA? You just got to decide how good you want to be on Guild War defense for your guild and on Arena defense for your climb. And if you are just in the tower having fun chilling in a casual guild and you just do Arena passively for the rewards for the Skystones, then you can probably skip her pretty safely. So that's my take. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Harsetti? You've only got about 36 hours to decide. At 11 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, her banner goes away and we move on to the next banner and she will not be back for a while. So let me know in the comment section your opinion on Harsetti. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys have a great rest of your day.